There's a sleeping giant of an offensive tactic waiting to emerge in Madden 26, but don't worry, I'm going to show you guys exactly what it does and how to counter it, because that's what we do. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, the notification bell, grab out your pen and pad. Let's get after it. Now, the concept we're going to be working with today is hot routable RPOs, and these are absolutely money against zone coverage across the game. In fact, really, if you know what you're doing, the only way that you can stop these is by pass committing. And that's going to be really tough because an RPO allows you to run the ball. And as we know, when you guys are dealing with somebody who's pass committing and you run the ball, you don't get sheds, you get a lot more broken tackles. So this is one of those double-edged swords that a lot of players are going to struggle with to defend. Now, in order to find hot routable RPOs in your playbook, it's very simple. I want you guys to hit the right bumper, or R1 if you're on PlayStation, until you get over to play types. Go down to RPOs, and you're going to see that there are 3 different types of RPOs that you can choose from. There are going to be RPO reads, RPO peaks, and RPO alerts. Not every single RPO in the game allows you to hot route players, and even with the ones that do, it is only going to allow you to hot route players that are already on routes. So when you're going through your plays for the purpose of this, I want you guys to kind of keep in mind that you want to search for plays that are RPOs with players on both sides of the field running routes. The best concepts that you guys will typically be able to hot route are going to be peak RPOs, but those come with a little bit of a caveat. You see, when you break the huddle with a peak style RPO, you will have one player on the field that you are supposed to be reading, and that is going to be the player with the P icon over their head. This player is unfortunately not a player that you can manipulate, because the sole reaction of this player is dictated by your opponent's RPO pass key setting, meaning that if they set this to conservative, this player will always drop back into their coverage lane and not attack the run. That's still valuable information, but realistically, we want to be able to manipulate players on RPOs and get them biting up against the run, which can open up the seams in the middle of the field for some of our attacks. So we are going to want to really target plays, as I just mentioned, that have an RPO route on both sides of the field. So if you take a look at the right side of my screen here, I want to talk about RPO zone peak glance, because this is going to be a really interesting call you can make. So we broke in the huddle here, and you can see that I've got a RPO with a glance route. This is that post route to the right side of the field. Now, if I were to actually move the M icon here, you will see that when I pull up my play art, that there actually isn't a P icon on this play. In fact, there's really only an R icon on this play. This means that if my opponent is in zone, it is very, very likely that the player, especially the hook defender, will run commit over the middle. You also have the ability to hot route other players that are on routes on these types of plays. So when you take a look at this, I could go ahead and turn both these guys into streaks. So what you will see is that when I snap this ball with 2 streaks on the field, any non-P icon will basically attack the run, which allows me to throw the ball instantly to the inside of the field. Furthermore, if you guys have routes such as custom stem posts that you can put on your play, this is also really, really good for being able to get inside breaks against purple zones, because purple zones are not really a zone that will run commit. Believe it or not, if your opponent does have flat zones, they will. So what I would recommend doing with these post routes is don't take them down all the way, because if you do take them down all the way, they cut so quick that a linebacker can actually still pick off the pass while run committing. So you see here, I just gave you guys an example of what I'm talking about. You see how this player bites up, but I'm running a route right into him? Obviously, we have a sliver of field that we can throw to here. We just need to get the break right on it, okay? So do not snap off a stem down all the way post unless you're gonna be lined up in the correct spot for this to work. So what I would do is I would probably just take it down, but not all the way. So again, when they're doing this here, you're going to see that I can throw these balls, and you see now we're able to catch this ball on the right side or the left side because both those linebackers are biting down. So with this particular play, nothing really crazy. I'm just showing you the concept of getting players to bite down. You're going to find RPOs across the game from a variety of different looks. In fact, I don't even really recommend compression formations as the best ways to do this, because spread formations are going to get your guys in space, walk linebackers out over them, and if they're in those hook zones, they're going to bite down, and that's going to give you an easy throw in space, compared to some of these compression formations where, you know, you just have more defenders jammed up in the box. I'm not as fond of that type of call. Now, that said, if you guys are on the defensive side of the ball and you're dealing with this, the only real way that you can deal with this in zone is pass committing. And if you do that, your players will backpedal. And now all of a sudden you're able to kind of run your run call and still be able to attack. That one right there is outside zone, so it's not the best run call in the game. But imagine something downhill like an inside zone RPO or a trap RPO, something like that. Now we're going to move on to a different type of RPO that doesn't really put P icons on the field. These are some of my more favorite style RPOs. Now, again, right here in the Jags book, we don't really have a lot that we can hot route out of, but the Bunch X Nasty is a popular one that you will see in our community. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call this motion zone RPO alert. And the cool thing about this is, again, I can put all these guys on routes. So one of the things that you might do is kind of just put, you know, streak to right bumper, maybe run a quick slant over the middle. I mean, you could do a lot with this here. Now, again, the key to this is that you're really trying to attack zone, in particular yellow zones, whether that's a hook zone found in a cover 3 or cover 4 drop, or a yellow zone that's found in a cover 2 style defense. So again, here, when I come out of the huddle in this is actually something you will run into from time to time in the community. You're going to see here that you have the ability to throw these streaks right down the middle of the field against cover 2. Cover 2 is a very popular coverage shell in our community right now. A lot of players like to run the Texas 2-man out of like a nickel wide, or the Texas 4-man out of a double mug or a single mug, and they just like to switch stick around the hooks. Well, this is really problematic for somebody that likes to play that way, because you're just not going to be able to get your zones to do what you want them to do short of pass committing. So again, here, if you kind of take a look at the way that I'm doing this here, you're just kind of stuck. All right. So you snap this ball, and unless you pass commit, that's the only way you can get them to guard that. And of course, you know, you run the ball. Now, again, I'm probably not the biggest fan of, you know, these zone style runs this year, to be honest with you. But when your opponent is pass committing on a consistent basis, the thing about this is that you're going to really easily be able to get up to those second and third levels and run the ball effectively for short yardage gains. So if you catch your opponent in one of those cover 3 or cover 4 hard flats, or a cover 2 hard flat on a short down, and they can't afford to pass commit, this is where these become really, really lethal for you guys. Now, of course, one of the better ways to counter this is going to be to play man-to-man, but we also know man-to-man coverage is really not that good. In fact, it relies on mixing in different zones on the field, whether it's flat zones or hook zones that, again, as we talked about, will run commit against the RPO. So how do we deal with someone that spams this? Well, first off, I am going to tell you, but you should open up a tab and head over to gridirongameplans.gg, because on my strategy website, my members have known this for quite a while. In fact, that this is a tip that is trickling down to the YouTube channel from the website, and I've had my members running hot routable RPOs for a little bit over a month now here on the website, out of all different types of playbooks. Now, what I'm going to share with you after I get out of this little upsell, and I do appreciate you guys sitting through this, is going to shut this down. But I just want to let you know that on the website right now, between not only college football, but also Madden 26, I have over 200 vault updates out on the games, and I have over 11 offensive and defensive game plans, depending on which game you're playing. So much content for you. Coverage Bibles on both games. This is the framework for how I defend everything on the back end. I show you guys how to get pressure out of all my favorite defensive formations in the game, and you guys have access to our Discord server where I have live lab sessions each and every week, and you guys will be able to watch those lab sessions on the website the next day if you were unable to attend live. That way you don't miss out on any of the things that we're talking about in our group sessions, and you get to stay on the forefront of the things that I'm labbing. Come to the website in the very near future. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's the best deal in the tip space. Link is in the description. So we've got a problem. We can't play zone because the linebackers attack the run and the pass is wide open. We can't play man because if someone plays man, that's just too easy to chop up with regular passing plays. So what do we do to defend the RPO? After all, we can't just pass commit out of zone because the run is going to be effective. Is there something that works to kind of give you balance from a defensive perspective? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The answer is always match coverage. Now, I know I just got out of my Gridiron pre-sale. You guys should take a look at my coverage Bible, because you need to learn match coverage. You do. You simply need to know all the rules against all the spacings. I keep it real simple for you. Cover 6, cover 9, cover 4 quarters, palms, cover 3 match, cover 2, how it matches. I'm gonna show you guys everything you need to know to match any formation alignment. That way, if somebody comes out in an obscure formation, like for instance, gun wing slot, and they're glitching an RPO to their slot receiver, I'm gonna show you guys the concepts that know how to match those players, because match coverage does not run commit against RPOs, only zone defenders. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call cover 4 quarters. Now, with this particular call, what we are going to do is we are going to run a RPO glance again. Let's go back to that one where we have routes on both sides of the field. Now, With this particular call, what's really, really cool about this is that in match coverage, you are going to have players that are responsible for taking vertical attacking threats, namely your safeties in the inside quarters and your corners in the outside quarters. And with a lot of these RPO manipulations, these are tight ends or slot receivers that are getting wide open in the seam while underneath zones run commit. The cool thing about match coverage is because we have guys that can match vertical attacking seam threats like CeeDee Lamb or DJ Moore, while our underneath zone run commits, this gives us someone that will play this, but also better run gap fits against the RPO. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to throw this ball to CeeDee Lamb hot off the line. And you see what happens here is that safety plays downhill while the zone in the middle of the field is run committing. So what a lot of players are going to do is they're going to snap this ball thinking, all right, I know that's very likely that this guy's in a flat zone. He's going to drop all the way to the out here. I'll just have to read this guy and hike throw it if he takes a step forward. Well, that's what a match is going to do. You're going to have the guy play forward, but guess what? This guy behind is the one that's responsible for the slot receiver. Not only that, but we get a good reroute by our quarter flat defender, so you can't immediately throw it. And because of that, this allows us to intercept this ball. Now in this example, I really want to emphasize how this safety depth can be a huge benefit to you. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both of those right bumper and X receivers on the streak side of the bunch that we just threw against zone coverage. Now with this particular call, I'm actually going to leave my auto motion on. We're fully expecting that the underneath zones are going to try to play the run, but I want you to watch how these safeties can be in better spots now to handle the quick throws to either side. And you see that I can't really go either direction with these throws because they're turning and looking to match those vertical attacking threats in their area. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm really going to exaggerate it. And I'm going to take all the players that could impact with reroutes. I'm going to put Smith out here. I'm going to take Davis away. I'm going to take Surtain all the way out here. I'm going to leave this guy away. I'm just going to leave these safeties here because those are the ones that oftentimes we need to recruit to make this a better play. And you're going to see here that with this particular call, these guys are still going to be in a spot where they're matching things, okay? They're playing downhill against the run, but they can still react to the throw right at them because they're responsible as safeties. Now, in this particular instance, this safety actually isn't responsible for X. It's really this guy. So this actually becomes a decent user candidate, but honestly, I'll move him out of the way here. So I'll just put him on a blitz assignment. And you're going to see here that if I just go ahead and hike throw to Lamb, you're not going to get a run commit out of the guy that's supposed to be playing him. Now, of course, we know the game has a lot of aggressive catches, and that's unfortunate. But the point is, we aren't run committing, and we don't have to pass commit to counter it from happening like zone does. And we don't have to sit in straight man like a lot of players will typically go to when they're getting RPO'd to death. This is why match coverage, once again, is a counter to everything. Think about all the things over the years that I've recommended on this channel going with match. Remember the red route glitch where everybody chased the quarterback if they were in zone? Match coverage solved that. Same thing here. If you get guys really chasing the quarterback or the running back, match coverage is king because their first thing is to worry about people entering their zone vertically as a route and then playing man-to-man on it. But at the end of the day, match is the best hybrid coverage. And if you guys want to learn all of it, make sure you guys head to Gridiron. I will catch you guys later. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.